Hey people, Fernando doing another video for the Modern Survivalist, and in this case talking about a very sad incident in which a female officer in Buenos Aires in a subway station got shot by a man that took her gun, her issued firearm, and shot her. So a lot of debate, and unfortunately a lot of debate from people that really don't know what they're talking about. I've heard a number of stupid excuses and arguments. At the end of the day, the man is actually this one. He is obviously not well, a violent person, man that has already a criminal record. He is not making any sense as he's being taken away. He is just, he's probably not well in the head. Based on the accounts of witnesses, the man was not feeling well. He was actually sitting in a bench, and people from the workers from the subway station were actually assisting him, including this female officer from the city of Buenos Aires police. She was actually bringing him a glass of water, a little plastic cup of water, I assume, just to help him out. And out of nowhere, for no reason whatsoever, he just went for her gun, took her gun, shot her twice, and killed her and injured another worker from the subway. Violent guy, somewhat larger than her, obviously enough, is stronger than her, reacting quicker, I guess, catching her off guard. And yeah, unfortunately, that's how it went. So here is where people start thinking of a number of reasons and excuses as to why this happened, what went wrong, what could happen. Let me just say first that in most cases, there's a very good chance that if someone just makes up his mind about taking the gun away from an officer, from a police officer, and there is the opportunity for that to happen, there's a good chance that officer ends up dead. And no matter where you are, no matter what country you're looking at, no matter how big or small the guy or the woman is. And there's a very good argument to make about, a woman will definitely not be as strong as a man. Can you catch by surprise even the largest dude? Hell yes. And I've lost count of how many times in different countries and different airports I've seen cops just walking around and there's people around them. And you see a gun, you know what gun it is, you know the holster, what it is, and you know that you can easily just do this, take the gun away from him, shoot him and his partner. You don't even have to be that good of a shot. Just with a basic amount of knowledge and training in terms of firearms, you can do that. And even if you don't have that training, you can get lucky. And if there's a holster that has some mechanism, some loop, something, there's a good chance that you can either push hard enough to break it or just disengage it by pressure, angle, depending on the holster, depending on the gun, depending on how lucky you are or not. So what I'm going here is, this can happen really to anyone. Is it more likely to happen for someone that is physically not as strong? Yes, we've seen male officers being disarmed and shot as well, right? So, having said all of this, how all of this went down, there's even arguments about her bulletproof vest. She was wearing a bulletproof vest made by Fabricaciones Militares, that's a national military factory of Argentina. The vest was fine. Actually, this mark here, unfortunately her blood, this is from the inside of the vest. Apparently the guy, taller, stronger, he just shot over the vest into her chest, one in the neck, one in the chest, and this is apparently like ricochet from the inside of the vest. The bulletproof vest does its job as long as the projectiles are hitting it from the outside. In the inside, not going to be doing you much good. Full metal jacket, that's the ammunition that the Buenos Aires police uses. Actually, the entire Argentine police uses full metal jacket, 9mm. It penetrates a lot. It's something that they probably should look into. Wouldn't have saved her here either way. Just getting shot with bulletproof, with hollow points would be pretty much the same thing. She bled to death because of those full metal jackets. She would have bled just as well, or even more so with hollow points. The point is, he got control of her gun and shot her and wounded another employee. So bulletproof vests, yeah, they do work and there's an argument usually because many of the vests are expired. And yes, when a vest is expired, there's a chance that it will not stop because, the material becomes more fragile depending on how much light exposure it had and so on. Usually even expired vests will work, but you definitely want to have police armed with vests that are within their expiration dates. Here, yeah, it didn't make much of a difference, and there's even arguments about the sheath being used and the gun being used. An excellent firearm, the Versa Thunder 9mm traditional double action, single action. I assume she was carrying it with a round in the chamber and the safety disengaged, or it could have been that the safety was engaged and this man actually knew about it and disengaged the safety. Are fires with a manual safety safer? Well, you can make an argument for that. I think that I'd rather have a greater level of awareness and focus on those things and the control of your firearm, and not just rely on a lunatic not figuring out the manual safety that is actually quite intuitive. So yeah, I don't know exactly how she was carrying it, if she has her safety engaged or not. I would carry it without the safety engaged. Now, if it's protocol for them to have it with the safety engaged, that could have saved her life or could have not. If it was engaged and the guy just disengaged it because he was somewhat familiar with the gun or intuitively just brought it down, we will never know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe someone that, an eyewitness or someone that knew her, or if she followed the protocols or not, But my point is, this can happen to anyone. And yes, it is more likely to happen to a female officer. Now, what is the solution for this? There's really not much you can do. And that is simply because this is so comprehensive. Even the sheath. Traditionally for concealed carry, you go with a form sheet, something like this. And this is, providing good enough retention. It's not falling, and you can just pull it out. For an officer, usually you will have something that's kind of like this or not, but it will have some kind of loop right in the sheath, something like kind of like this. That's going to be preventing if you pull it away, but if you push on the side, it just releases. And this, yeah, it could save you if someone pushes and doesn't manage to pull it out, or pushing hard enough just disengages or breaks the plastic. Back in the day, they had this in the police in Argentina, and this is an old school holster. Yeah, that this involves pushing this out of the way and this, and it's still fast enough, but it's not as fast as having something more modern. Again, I think that it's about the training that you have, the awareness that you have. Reality, very different. This is a photograph from the Buenos Aires police, right? You have this female officer, you have this man there, you have this guy there, you have this. I think this is a good representation of what you have in the force all over. In the United States, you see officers that are morbidly obese all the time. Some of them are super fit. Yeah, absolutely. The reality is that this is what you have these days. Is this woman going to be strong enough? Well, probably not. Is this guy going to be strong enough to, fight against your average, stronger, medium-sized dude? Probably not. Both of these guys don't look super fit or strong. This one looks a little bit taller, a little bit bigger. He's obviously overweight. This guy looks, kind of what you would like to have, a lean, fit dude. How many of those do you have? Less and less each damn day. And the reality is that if you want to do all of this, you start going this path. You start becoming a prepper. You start becoming a survivalist. You learn about guns. You learn about holsters. You learn about so many other things. You learn about hand-to-hand fighting. You learn about using a knife, using a taser, your pepper spray, and a level of awareness that the average person, including the average police officer, will probably not have. And this is a path that has no ending. You never stop. I mean, my 20-year-old son already beats me. Well, why? Well, because he's 20 years old and he's practicing jiu-jitsu all damn day long and he's competing. And yeah, he's going to be better at it than me. So what is that you do? If someone like that attacks me on the street, I rely on other things. You rely on other tools at your disposal, and your most powerful weapon of all, your mind, right? That's how you compensate while you go down this path for things that you're not as good as someone else, or someone is bigger and stronger, or catches you by surprise, or there's a couple of guys. There's always a case in which no matter what you do, you're done. You're unlucky enough. Someone is, you got caught by surprise. Someone hits you over the head with a brick while walking down the street with your partner. Yeah, you can still fall and die no matter how strong, clever, and well-trained you are. All of these things come into this equation. So you look at this and say, yeah, unfortunately, this is what we have in society in general. And from that society is that your police officers are coming. And most likely, if you have a guy that has this kind of mentality and does half of the things that I explained here, that guy is probably not going to be your average officer. He's going to be more on a tactical unit, on this SWAT group, or of a larger force. He will probably go a little bit more hardcore in the things that he probably likes. Why is this that we have this misconception about what a police officer is? Well, Die Hard. You see John McClane going against 30 terrorists and killing them all with his Beretta 92. That does not happen. Have you seen a damn detective of any big city ever? Do they look like John McClane or fit Bruce Willis back in the day? No, they look like this or probably a lot worse. That is not what police detectives look like freaking anywhere. A younger fit dude in the tactical unit that he's into guns, yeah, that's far more likely. But your average cop is somewhat like this. Is that ideal? No. And I will even make an argument right now of, well, female police officers. Oh no, that is something that we have to get rid of because it's woke. And you know what? Unfortunately, we cannot afford that anymore. These days, a female officer that is, somewhat fit, man, yeah, this female officer over there, she's probably going to be reacting a little bit better than your dude over here that doesn't look all that, just based on the physical looks of each one. Yeah, this is probably something that is above average specimen of your police force, even as a female. Ideally, in a perfect world, every fireman, every police officer would be a super fit, lean, young, and motivated male, stronger than your female counterpart. That is not the world we live in. The world we live in is that the police officers that we have are increasingly more like the society that they come from. And even this, example here, even your officer here, I would probably take her over the six assholes that beat a guy to death in the recent event in the United States, right? So that is how low our bar has gone. We can no longer look at it and say, oh yeah, a female officer got disarmed and got shot. Now we need to change the police everywhere. No, unfortunately, yes, training has to be better, equipment has to be better, awareness. But unfortunately, this is just the way it is. And we have even worse problems like six cops not seeing that it's wrong to beat a guy to death in the middle of a suburb, right? That's how low the bar has gone. But yeah, be aware. You can be disarmed. Be very much, even as an average law-abiding citizen, armed. You have to be always aware that you have a firearm. There's always a gun in a fight. Whenever there's conflict, there's your gun in that potential fight. So you always have to be aware of it. And these are the things that you little by little start working inside your mindset, and you're constantly aware that you want to make sure that no one has access to this from your immediate surroundings. Guys, it's going to be all for now. If you want to learn more about this, as always, you have my books where I cover quite a bit of self-defense and firearms. The links are going to be there below. Take care. See you in the next one.